want to thank you for watching this video and for dropping into the website. I hope I can really help you today. The topic that I'm going to talk about today is a really exciting one. It's called instant prosperity. Instant prosperity. I've had a real fresh revelation in this area lately, which is very exciting. I've noticed from the Bible that when God provides, it's instant provision. Instant provision. There is no delay at all between taking an action and receiving provision in the Bible. Now, I know in your head you're probably thinking about circumstances you've had when it took a long time for you to get prosperity or some provision, but I want you to just set aside that experience for a moment so that we can explore what the Bible has to say. It's very tempting sometimes to try and elevate our own experience above what the Word of God says, but we're meant to live by faith, and faith comes by hearing the Word. So we need to continually hear the Word. From hearing and hearing the Word is how faith comes, and that's how we live in the blessings and the promises of God. The psalmist tells us in Psalm 35:27 to say continually, "Let the Lord be magnified, which hath pleasure in the prosperity of his servant." When you prosper, you actually give God a real high, a kick, a buzz, a delight, a thrill. That's what makes God happy. If you want to be a God pleaser, then you're going to have to prosper, because that's what he takes pleasure in. Isn't that amazing? It's just like a new proud father on Christmas Day wanting to see his child share the presents on his first Christmas morning. He can't wait to see his child receive those presents. And God's the same. He can't wait for us to prosper. He's eager for us to prosper. That's why he wants us to have instant prosperity, not delayed prosperity. You don't have to suffer for years through struggle and heartache before you can prosper. God can provide for you instantly. One of the things I love to do, whether I'm reading the Bible or any other text or even just observing life, is to look for patterns. I once heard someone say that all success is pattern recognition, and there's usually patterns, there's clues to success that we can follow. But one of the things I found really interesting in the Bible was that there was no pattern about who prospers. It doesn't matter whether you're old or whether you're young. It doesn't matter whether you're married or whether you're not. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female, whether you're a Jew or a Gentile. Everyone can prosper. And in the Bible, there's accounts of all sorts of people prospering. In the world, usually your level of income and your age and your occupation tend to have a lot to do with the opportunities for success that come to you. But in the Bible, there was someone who was young, who was rich, and who was a leader, who was actually a boss, a ruler. And this rich young ruler actually missed out on his prosperity because he walked away from 100-fold increase that was about to come his way, but he didn't take the actions that he needed to take, that Jesus specifically told him to take to be prosperous. And so it doesn't matter whether you're old or whether you're young. It's all about instant prosperity if you will know the keys of instant prosperity. It's not about your age, it's not about your gender, it's not about your occupation, it's not about your weight or your looks or anything else. It's about God's principles for instant prosperity. Isn't that good news? In Isaiah 48:17, God tells us, "I am the Lord who teaches you to profit." God could have said, "I am God who supernaturally will plunge profit into your lap while you're sitting on the couch and eating donuts," but he didn't. He said, "The way that I bring prosperity into your life, or profit into your life, is through teaching." Teaching is like, I don't know if you've ever had breakfast in bed in a posh hotel, but they always bring it to you on a tray. And on that tray, if you take the tray, you get all of the breakfast on top of it. And teaching is like the tray that brings you prosperity. No one really likes the teaching. No one rings up room service and orders a tray. They don't want the tray, they want the breakfast. And no one really likes the teaching, they want the profit. But if you'll take the teaching, if you're one who's willing to receive teaching, then you can have the profit in your life. That rich young ruler walked away from the teaching of Jesus. If you walk away from teaching, you are walking away from instant prosperity. Another clear principle of instant prosperity in the Bible is value. God likes to examine what value you have and what value you're providing for others. Just about everyone, before they got their provision miracle, was asked, "What do you have?" And just about all of them said nothing. I don't have anything. And then they might remember, oh, we've got one little lunch, one boy's lunch, but how can we feed 5,000 men with only one person's lunch? Jesus said that was enough. The widow said, oh, I only have a jar of oil. And the prophet said, that's enough. You can have a provision and prosperity miracle from just one jar of oil. There was another widow who was trying to feed her son, and she couldn't, and she was completely out of food. There was a famine, there was an economic recession in her part of the world, and she thought this was her last meal for her and her son. She was suicidal, she was depressed, she thought she was going to die and couldn't do anything for her family. And the prophet said to her, what do you have? And she said, well, I've only got just a little bit of oil and a little bit of flour. And he said, that's enough. You've got to find the value in your life. Don't worry about how big your need is. Start an inventory of what your seed is. Look for the value that you have already in your hands. That's what God will multiply to bring about instant provision for you. Just as those people in the Old Testament discovered where the value was in their life so quickly from a prophet, that's what I want for you. Because once you hook into that value, you'll find a place where you can multiply your value to others, and that's what will bring instant prosperity for you. Your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to find anywhere in the Bible where someone came to a prophet or a priest or Jesus or prayed to God directly or any man of God in the Bible and asked for provision where they didn't receive their provision miracle instantly. I want you to find anywhere where it says you have to wait for 5 years or 10 years or 50 years before you can have a provision miracle. No, there was always an action that came, and that action brought provision immediately, instantly. There was no delay at all. Let your mind hear that. There was no delay at all. Sometimes our brains have to catch up to what the Spirit of God is saying. No delay at all in provision from God. And that's my prayer for you today and for this year. I know you're going to prosper. I'm Sharon Haig. Thanks for watching.